Hi, I'm Mike Freedman, and I've been asked by Rooster Resilience to answer a few questions that you have on things like climate change. Okay, here goes. One question: are electric cars the answer? At best, they're part of the answer. They're not the whole solution. For a start, cars are part of transport. Think of trains, planes, think of trucks, ships, transporting people and goods around the world. If it hadn't been for the pandemic, I might well have been with you to talk to you in person, and I'd really like that. But then me and the hundreds of others, I'm living in Durban, me and the hundreds of others flying, would have added to climate change. As far as goods are concerned, I was just reading the other day, we export almost R1 billion, over 800 million rand of avocados each year, mostly to Europe, England and Holland. So the average avocado from South Africa travels just over 9,000 kilometers, partly in refrigerated trucks, all adding to climate change. Then think of the t-shirts we wear. Most of the lower priced t-shirts come from China, Bangladesh, probably 11,000 kilometers or so. What would be the answer there? Should we stop making avocados and start making t-shirts? It ain't that simple. Although it would be good to, one, grow our clothing manufacturing industry again, and two, when we buy food, just think about it more carefully. Where does our food come from? It ain't Woolworths. What about local farmers? If we could actually buy more food from our local farmers, we would actually contribute significantly to the reduction in global warming. And then what I want to show you as well is a chart. It's said that burping cows contribute more to climate change than all the passenger cars in the world. Burping cows. So I looked it up, and this is what I found. I'm going to show you a chart. Hopefully you can see it now. I'm going to show you a chart, and the science on the right, ignore. It's quite complicated, but apparently it's been verified. You'll see the black line is burping cows, the red line is passenger vehicles. And it's the warming impacts over time from today's emissions. So you'll see in the first few years, burping cows have probably twice as much effect on climate change than all the passenger vehicles in the world. But over time it gets less. Why? Cows burp methane. Methane is particularly bad for climate change. However, methane disappears in the environment after about 20 years. CO2, the red line from the passenger vehicles, still pretty bad for the environment, and even worse, as it takes 100 years or more to dissipate. So what should we learn from this chart? Maybe instead of an electric vehicle, we eat less meat. In fact, eating less meat is very good for many reasons. And it's something that everyone could do now. And so as I say, it's a part, passenger cars and climate change is a result of a system. Many, many things we do. Our cities are another thing. Our cities contribute to climate change. Think of all the new skyscrapers in Johannesburg now, there's the tallest building in Africa. Think of the air conditioning, all the other stuff that makes it work. Our cities do contribute to climate change too. And a big thing with cities is how can we create, if you like, the equivalent of electric cars, more efficient cities. Oh, and by the way, that's happening with cows too. In New Zealand, they're experimenting with seaweed. In the UK with garlic. In America with probiotics, being fed to cows to reduce the methane in their burps. I said in South Africa, there's even less of a solution with electric cars. One, there's not many electric cars around. There's about 1,000 in the country. They're all imported. So just think of that effect. Plus, where does our electricity come from? Unfortunately, most of our electricity comes from coal. And coal is one of the worst culprits for climate change. This country, because we produce cheap coal, is wedded to it. In fact, export coal as well. Whilst banks are stopping their investments in coal mines, our migration to renewable energy is very, very slow. So I'm afraid electric cars, imported electric cars, will be burning coal instead of gas. So I'm not trying to be too negative. Everything we do helps. Electric cars will help in time. And in the meantime, perhaps eat less meat, buy things more locally. Think about where your t-shirts come from, maybe just buy one or two less.